Hey, good morning. My name is James. I'm going to be your inspector today. Today we're going to go over the installation standards of a PD-TR7070V. What this is a concrete vault with a lid that supports our 75 kVA all the way up to our 500 kVA three-phase transformers. So today we're going to go over the standards. Stick with me and I'll show you what you need to know. So I've asked the contractor to kind of hit the pause button and hold up a little bit so I could show you some of the underground things that you normally wouldn't see once the gravel and once the whole entire vault is buried. So what I'd like to show you here is some of the dimensions, what it is I need to see where the gravel comes up to, the ground rod installation, the dimensions of where it is as to the top, and all of our fittings and the sweeps and the plastic L's and stuff that goes inside of this vault. Once this thing is completed and finished, where I'm standing inside, this is all of the working room that we now as linemen have to be able to work with the large cables that we're constantly moving around inside here. First of all, I'd like to have you look at our ground rod installation. So the contractor has installed the ground rod properly. Where this is going to land at is 6 inches above the floor of the grade of gravel that comes in here. We're a little lenient on how much gravel that you put inside of here, but the bare minimum is going to come up to the outside windows of where this of how this thing gets installed. And the reason for this is so that we don't have any kind of fill coming in or coming out of the vault. Where this ground rod lands is going to be 6 inches above that grade of window. You see 6 inches here above, the gravel will come up to this floor, and that's where this ground rod will come up. So it's 6 inches above the grade. On the secondary side of things, these conduits that come through here, these are actually 3-inch. Sometimes we see 4-inch. Sometimes we see a lot of 2-inch. That's the reason for these vaults, because these are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So these secondary sides, kind of up to you, the electrician, in determining your load size of how many you need and what size they are. These still need to be above the floor grade as a minimum. How high they are is completely and totally up to you, because you're the one that's pulling the secondaries. So now we're going to talk about the primary installation of our 7,620 volt per phase that's coming into this vault. These are all protected with our 24-inch radius galvanized L's, and on the end of that is going to be a 5-foot stick of galvanized, just like our regular installations of any kind of anchoring point that we're pulling this heavy wire through. In our other standards on our flat poured pad, the PD-TR1s through 5, typically what you're going to see is a 36-inch radius. So understand that this is a little bit smaller, and it's for purposes of getting this further down into the vault. 24-inch radius galvanized L's. On the end of these, what you also see are these FAs. We give these to you. And the way these are installed, you can be able to adjust these. As you can see, the contractor put these PVC pipes on there to get their height, as our standard requires 19 inches from the top of the vault. My preference is to have them no less than 6 inches above the grade of where our ground rod is. So where the gravel floor comes up to the bottom here of this window, if these bell ends are sticking slightly above that, that's going to be just fine. We like to have as much room inside here to be able to pull wire and have these downs. At the end of the day, what I'm looking for to be able to really see is gravel at the top of this window, and these bell ends about 6 inches above that grade of gravel. Now what I want to talk to you about is how it is that this neck actually needs to go in the ground. And some of the things it is that I'd like to be able to see when I'm on the job site are some of these tools like a transit, a level. You're going to need to know your grade in advance, and the reason for that is because this lip right here that we see has a bevel. This is 1 inch. It's a 1-inch bevel. This edge right here will be at grade. So this actually gets a lid that gets stuck on top of it, and this edge right here, this bevel, is your stopping point of where your grade needs to be. What this contractor has also done is has established the actual pinpoint area of where this vault is going to land. We're out here at Convoy of Hope, and this is going to be in an island area where there's plenty of parking on the outside of it, but this is in a safe zone where we're not going to have to worry about bollards or anything like that. This is a curb line. That doesn't mean that the curb is coming all the way against it, but this also gives him an understanding of where the curb is from this stream coming back. This is also a good reference point of how this box or this vault will be shifted in conjunction with the curb area that's on the outside and all the parking around it. So another thing it is that I will do whenever I show up is I'll be using a level to check in all directions and all sides to make sure how level that this vault is. You'll notice that this bubble is dead center. They've done an excellent job of getting this level. I've already checked, it's level on both sides and all corners. This vault is 36 inches tall, so you have to take in consideration of where these paver blocks that I'm going to show you at next, where they go in the corners. The contractor also is using a transit, which is a very good way to pinpoint exactly where you need to be. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about how this vault gets set and get nice and level. This vault weighs 2,150 pounds approximately, give or take. So because of that, we need to make sure that we're setting on something good and solid that's not going to move. This contractor is using some 1-inch gravel to be able to compact it and make sure that it's setting on top of. Underneath here, we have these paver blocks that these are sitting on, solid concrete paver blocks. So this vault, I want to be able to see that it's sitting on these paver blocks and that these are extruding out the side to make sure they're dead center and nice and solid and level. Okay, so far what we've talked about is everything it is that I need to see on the inside and outside of the vault as what it is that's exposed for video purposes. What I really need to see is once I show up, I'd like to be able to see everything on the inside just like we talked about, but I also want to be able to know that you've put gravel on the outside of this up to this window. From this window up, you can use just regular standard backfill as long as nothing is greater than 3 inches as far as rock size. Whatever you've taken out, you can put back in the ground, compact it back down, and then finish your grade where it needs to be, just 1 inch below this level. So let's talk about safety here just real quick. These vaults are 2,150 pounds. You're not going to be able to pick this up with your typical mini excavator. You're going to need something much larger, like a truck like you see here behind me, a small crane, or something that is easily going to be able to lift 2,150 pounds. You're also going to need some lifting straps, something like what you see here. This one here is more than what we need to have. He used 2 of them, basketed together, to be able to pick it up and lower it in here nice and safe. So what you see here that I'm sitting on is the actual lid that goes on top of this vault. You'll notice how it sticks above grade, so also keep that in consideration. When you're finished and done and completed, what we don't want to have is your landscapers or your finishing people come in and try to bring that grade up to here. This needs to stay above grade. That's the reason why that vault was set the way that it was. So these lifting eyes here, you'll need to get in touch with me to provide. They have nylon inserts inside this lid that you'll need to take out. Once you're done putting this vault lid on the vault, these here need to go back in those holes to keep all the debris out so that when we come back, if we need to take this lid off, we'll be able to access it and get it off easily. Again, these bolts, these lifting eyes are provided by me to help you put these on. So you'll definitely need to get in touch with me before you can put this lid on there. So again, I want to emphasize on safety. These lids are 1,500 pounds. This is the reason why you're going to need a large truck, crane, something to be able to lift these on and do them safely. Speaking of safety, don't forget to call on your locates. Call 811, and that's going to take you directly to the call center. If you have any questions about how to put this stuff in, before, after, or during, please give me a call. You can also reach our tech house at 417-831-8888. You can call my cell phone directly at 417-450-7347. And if I don't answer, leave a message and I'll call you back.